Hello, Buckskin Dave Morelli here. Weather turned to crap on us out there, so we're going to spend some time in the shop. Today we're going to work on the butt plate of our rifle, but before we get to it, this finally dried and I pulled it off. You can see how it snaps off and it'll snap back on kind of easy. We just got to put a little oil on that and attach a thong, and that's ready for service. Anyway, I got my silver parts yesterday, and now's the time to look at that rifle, see if we want to go with silver furniture, brass furniture, iron furniture, and if I go with silver, we're going to work on that silver butt plate today. So let's get over there and get on it. Okay, so I got some silver yesterday, and one of the things I got was my silver butt plate. This one's silver, this one's iron. You can see the difference in the shape, and this one's a little bit smaller and a little bit narrower. I think it's going to work. It's also cast, and you can see it's going to take a little work to clean it up. So we're going to do that. The first thing that I like to do is start the planning with your length of pull on your gun. And I got the trigger plate in last episode, so I know where my trigger is. 14 inches is about a good length of pull for me, and actually that's a good average length of pull. If you're not building the gun for anybody in particular that you can measure, I would make it, and you might want to sell it to somebody or sell it to an average person, I would make it 14 inches. But that's easy. You just measure 14 inches from the trigger to the center of the butt plate, which I've already done. And then I traced the curvature on there, so when I cut it, it'll be close enough that it'll be pretty easy to fit the butt plate onto the wood. So let's start by cleaning this up and see, and then I want to put some design in the top and shape it a little bit. Let's see how she comes. Okay, so the first thing I got to do is get this flat off of here and kind of bring it down to the shape. I'm going to start out with a multi-directional file, and it's a rather coarse one because I want to get this done quickly and take a lot of material off. So that's what we're going to work on first, and get that down and try to get it to that shape, and then I'll go to a finer file, get it down, and then we can start shaping the top of this. So I'm working on this first because I don't have the confidence that a lot of builders do. I don't want to cut the stock until I have this thing looking the way I want, because I have learned that I make mistakes and I could screw this up. And so when this is nice and perfect and I know I did a good job on it, then I'll cut the stock. If I mess this up and I have to start over with another piece of silver, or if I change my mind and go to the iron furniture, then the stock will be cut and that'll be just extra work. So being a bit of a puss, I guess, and I want this to be ready to go on the wood before I cut the wood for it. Okay, we're getting close. I try not to put too many scratches on the adjacent material, because anything you put on there, you gotta end up taking off. But I'm getting it close enough now to change from that file to a little bit better. So at least when I do get on the adjacent material, it's not leaving big gouges from that rough file. I almost got her down here, so we'll get her a little bit more, and then we'll start working across the top. Okay, I've got that tab off of there now, and I got one deep spot here between where the edge of the tab was and this edge here. When I get that out of there, I'm going to start now. I kind of went flat across here, but I'm going to start rounding this because it's got to have a roundness to it to come out to this edge. So that's what we're working on now. This one spot right here is just a little deep, but I mean, not very much. We'll get that out. Okay, you're going to have some depressions that are in there, and they got to come out. And they might only be and when I talk about a depression, I'm not talking about a nick. I'm just talking about a depression where the file is a little deeper. And what I do is I just very lightly draw file over those depressions. And what it'll do, and when I say draw file, I mean go sideways, it'll shine the high spot and the depression will stick out. And you just do it real lightly until it all shines. This isn't going to be a part that's dulled, finished, dull brown or anything of that nature. It's going to be a highly polished finish. And those depressions are going to show. So you want to get them down to where it's shiny all the way across there. You got to try to be careful not to scratch it. And this is a very fine file, see, and I'm getting them depressions out. Then when you hit it with your sandpaper to make it all one facet, you won't be able to see them. And as you polish, this is going to be a high polished piece of silver, and those depressions will show up. So take the extra time to get them out. Okay, I got that going. Now we got to work down this curve thing, and we'll start out with a pretty rough cut half round file. And the first thing I want to do is get the seam out that goes down the center, and then I'll work off of that down the sides. It's not very rough. I mean, it's rough, but it's got this tarnish on it that's got to come off. So we're going to work on that next. These round areas, I use a half round file. This is a small, fine half round file. And there's some pretty good pinholes in here that are going to take quite a bit to get it off. This thing, you can get it in the vise pretty much wherever you need it, as long as you got some leather in there, and be careful not to. One thing that silver won't put up with is the edge of a vise. So just make sure you got some leather in there, or rubber, or something to keep the sharp edges of the vise, putting a divot in it. And then we just got to work this right down, trying to keep the shape and get all those pinholes and divots and low spots out of there. There's enough metal that you can shave off all the way down if you have to. If you got a deep divot up here or a deep pinhole, you can make it level all the way down, and this won't become too thin. It's got plenty of metal on it to work with. We're going to start polishing. I'm using 100 grit. 100 grit's still taking off quite a bit of material, and I have to do that because I have some spots that need quite a bit of material off. But all polishing is reducing the size of the scratches. So we're going to start with this 100 grit, and then we're going to work our way down to 150 and 220, and we'll get it down to where the scratches are so small they'll look like a mirror. And that's what we're going to do with this. You could try just about every tool in your shop, mechanical wise, and what you end up doing is just putting little divots and low spots in there that you can't tell until you polish it. And then once you polish it, I'm not worried about this end here because we're probably going to be trimming this down when we put it on the wood and put our toe plate up to it. I'm not worried about that edge, but I want these side edges where the metal hits the wood, I want them to be free of any kind of rough. I want it to be nice and smooth, so when I fit the wood to it, take this down to 4 or 600 because I want it to be kind of mirror-like. But you can see it's pretty much even. These edges here are important. They need to be nice and clean and flat so they get a good finish against your, and the same with this. Good finish against your wood. And like I say, this bottom piece here, I won't worry about that until we fit it. And I'm not going to go below 320 right now because we're going to fit this on the wood and we're going to get little marks on it. We're going to have to take it off and go a little further with it. But I'm thinking about putting some wedding bands on here, maybe 1 or 2 of them, just across the top of here with a half round or a full round file, just to give it a little decoration. So I think I'll do that first, and then I'll have it kind of finished up for right now. Make a line, and then once I get my line, then I just work my round file around, and you can even, if you go a little crooked too, you can always get that round file and you can make it look straight. And it kind of touches everything up a little, puts a little decoration on it. I can't remember if it was Haynes, Dickert, 2, whichever guy it was, but he put 2 of them on his rifles. It was kind of a trademark. I'm just going to put 1 on because I'm not Dickert. And I just want 1 little thing on there to make it look better. So I'll just clean that up a little. One thing about once you get it down to here, and every time you're sitting there thinking about something, or trying to figure something, or thinking about what your next move is, this is one of them things that you're just always doing. Once you get it down to the 320, and you just keep polishing it up. You can see it's looking pretty good. Got my 1 wedding band on there. Pretty smooth back here, a little rough back here, but we're going to work on that once we fit it. So stick with me. Next job will be cutting that stock and fitting this to it, and putting some holes in and screwing it down. I think it's going to look really good. I'm liking the fact that I went to the silver trim. I'll see you next time. My name's Dave Morelli. Keep shooting that black powder. Bye-bye.